This parsha we meet Yitro. We meet Moshe's father-in-law. We haven't met him like this before. And just to read the way they talk to each other, the communication, I actually got emotional seeing how nice they communicate to each other. It's not simple to be able to communicate properly between people. It's not a simple thing. It's not an easy thing. And to see Yisro and Moshe together, that's very nice. They're both leaders of communities, right? You're looking, Yisro leads a community. He has to know how to communicate well. You can't lead a community. You can't be a rabbi or a Kohen Midian, if you don't know how to communicate properly, how to speak properly. You can do it for a short while, but you can't do it properly. I'm laughing because today I went to Yad Vashem and you see Hitler's rise to power, and Hitler was such a good communicator. He spoke so well. You see how and we stand there and we watch his speeches and his excitement and his vigor. It's very exciting. Um, Shem Rashayim Yerkov, he's the Satan himself, right? But you can see that in order to be a good leader, you need to be a good communicator. And we see it by Moshe, and we see it by, we also see it by Moshe, and we also see it by Yisro. And so Yisro, so the parsha starts off with Yisro coming, ויבוא יתרו חותן משה ובניו ואשתו אל משה המדבר, שהוא חונה שם הר האלוקים. Moshe Rabbeinu left his wife and his two boys. He left them for, right? He left them for a while. How did he leave them for? To go to Paro, to take care of all of that, right? So
They weren't in the time,
I think it comes out. They did go with him part of the way, but I think most of the time he was alone. He was without them. No, it's 1 year. It's 1 year, the Makos. In any event, we can see at the beginning of the parasha that the Tzipora and his two sons are there, and he hasn't seen them for a while. Yisro comes to meet Moshe, and he finds him in Har Elokim. Now, he had to look for him, right? They didn't have GPS. How did he find him? It was not easy. He had to go. He had to speak to those Bedouins and those Bedouins till he found Moshe by Har Sinai. The Sinai Peninsula is huge. It's like twice the size of Israel. And eventually he managed to find Moshe Rabbeinu. And if you work out the amount of time, you're talking about a few weeks that he had. Because he would have started, he decided to come after Milchemes Amalek, right? Am Yisrael leaves Mitzrayim. Then Am Yisrael, we have Kriyas Yamsuf on the seventh day of Pesach, right? It's the seventh day of Pesach. It's Chav Beis Nisan. Then we have the Milchama with Amalek. And then what happens is we have some time till Shloshis Yemei Hagbola, till the 3 days before Shavuos. The 3 days before Shavuos, that we speak about that right after this parak with Yisro. And so he had a span of like 4 or 5 weeks in which to find Moshe Rabbeinu. And to me, it seems like it took all that time, and he only found him towards the end, just before Matan Torah. So Yisro finally finds Moshe, and he says to him, Ani chotencha Yitro ba elecha v'ishtecha u'shnei banea ima. It's me, I'm your father-in-law, here's your wife and 2 of her sons. It's kind of an introduction, like he hasn't seen them for a year. And Yisro says, I'm not going to assume that he recognizes them. Moshe is super busy. He's a super busy person. And Yisro is coming like in between people that are visiting Moshe. And he says, Yisro, and this is your wife. And he's not assuming anything. When we speak to people, we don't want to assume that they know stuff already. You want to explain. Also, when I'm giving the shiur, I also don't want to assume that you know things. If you want to ask questions, by the way, you ask and I explain. And I try to explain everything so that there are no holes. And so Yisro explains to Moshe, this is your wife and your two sons. I know you probably recognize them, but just know they're over here. And then what does Moshe, how does Moshe react? ויצא Moshe לקראת חותנו, וישתחו וישק לו. He bows down in front of him. He kisses him. He kisses his father-in-law. That seems like a nice minhag, right? You can see Moshe kissed his father-in-law. Maybe next time I see Zadie, I'll give him a kiss. It's what Moshe Rabbeinu did. It's what the Torah says. And then
And that's where it started.
Vayavo ha'oela, they come to Moshe's tent, and then Moshe sits him down. ויספר משה לחותנו את כל אשר עשה השם לפרעה למצרים.
Wait, is he with Tzipporah and the kids or just?
Yeah. He's coming. It says he kisses וישתחו וישק לו. It sounds like he kissed Yisro. He probably kissed his wife and kids as well, most probably. And then they all sit down in the Ohel. I think Aaron's also over here because Aaron's mentioned soon in the Psukim. So they're all sitting together, and Moshe Rabbeinu is telling the stories. Wow, you don't even know. We left, and the power decided to chase us, and then we didn't know what to do. We were all right next to the water, and then the water parted. It was a nace. We came through. Then on the other side, who do we meet? Amalek, and we have to fight them, and it's a pain in the neck. And he's telling him all of this. Et kol hatla'ah asher metzatam baderech. All the difficulties are tlaot. He's expressing, he's talking to him, he's telling him everything, right? They haven't seen each other for a while, and Moshe's telling him all these stories. And how does Yisro react? Veichad Yitro al kol tova. He's happy. He's happy with Moshe. That's also part of the communication. You want to have a good rapport. You want to match the other person's energy, the other person's emotional state. If somebody's talking to you like this, you can respond like this. And if somebody's talking like this, then maybe you want to respond like also with kind of a lower energy and match their emotional state. In NLP, we teach to mirror what the other person's doing. If the other person's like this, the other person's doing like this. Yeah. You see this? You're both doing this. There's a good rapport. There's a good rapport between it's subconscious. When you're both doing the same thing, sometimes the lecturer can see this. I can look at a crowd and I can see where the rapport is and how people connect. So you want to match the other person's emotional state. And here, Veichad Yitro is actually even more of a response. It's like it's the correct response. He's happy for what Moshe went through, which is great. By the way, if you tell somebody a story and you don't even know this happened, the other person's like, yeah, that's not nice. That ruins the communication. When you tell somebody the story and they start laughing in an awkward way, all these things mess up the communication. We want to have a flow of the person says something and you have a response that makes sense. Then it says Yisro veikach Yitro choten Moshe ola uzvachim le'elokim. He brings korbanos, which to me said we imagine till now Yisro is coming with Tzipporah and her two sons. No, add to that he came with sheep and goats, because now he's bringing a korban. He's not taking somebody else's things. If you're bringing a korban, it's your stuff. Maybe he just came with gold and he bought it over there, but he probably came with it. Which makes it even harder, by the way. He's looking for Moshe. Where's Moshe? He has to comb through the Sinai desert to find Moshe. He's doing it within a few weeks.
And he came with some servants.
Probably he's coming with servants also. He's coming also with sheep and goats. It's harder. It's not an easy journey. And he does all of this to see Moshe, and he's happy with Moshe, and they're together. And this is a very special night, day and night. It's a very special day. And Yisro brings korbanos, vayavo Aaron. Oh, so Aaron wasn't there. Sorry. Now Aaron comes. Aaron v'chol ziknei Yisrael lechol lechem choten Moshe lifnei Elokim. Now everybody comes into the tent. Now that there's a lot of food, a lot of food, a lot of things are happening over there. And Moshe's happy, and Yisro is happy, Tzipporah is happy, and two sons are happy. And now everybody's sitting together and having a great day. And then Yisro wakes up next morning, and what does he see? He sees a long line of people into Moshe's tent. He, might do this with his eyes, rub his eyes and look. Why is there such a long line? And it says, ויהי מחרת וישב משה לשפוט את העם ויעמוד העם על משה מן הבוקר עד הערב. It's a long line. It takes them from morning to night to get through this whole line. וירא חותן משה את כל אשר הוא עושה, אה, ויאמר מה הדבר הזה אשר אתה עושה לעם? What are you doing to this nation? מדוע אתה יושב לבדך? Why are you alone? And וכל העם ניצב עליך מן הבוקר עד הערב. So Moshe responds and he says, why are they all over here? כי יבוא אליי עם לדרוש אלוקים. People are coming to ask Hashem. כי אדם דבר עליי, ובא ושפטתי בין איש לאשתו, בין איש ובין רעהו, והודעתי את חוקי אלוקים ואת תורותיו. Okay, I'm telling them what to do. He's explaining. Yisro didn't know this. He saw a long line. He's like, what is this? Oh, this is the line. I'm doing Kabbalat Kal. Yitro didn't know what he's saying. He's a very smart man. He's a Kohen Midyan. He himself has Kabbalat Kahal. He doesn't understand this. Again, it's part of communication. You explain sometimes the simple things. Don't assume that he's asking. Moshe Rabbeinu is not assuming that he's critical of what he did. Yisro thinks that Moshe is doing something that's not too good. You could do it better. But he's not sounding critical. He's not like Moshe, what are you doing? What is this? He didn't say it like that. He's like, what's going on, right? Look at these words again. מה הדבר הזה? What is this? מה הדבר הזה אשר אתה עושה? מדוע אתה יושב לבדיך? He's asking in an open way, without having judgment or criticism there. Moshe responds, and he says, well, people want to find out what's Dvar Hashem. I'm doing also Mishpat ben Ish Lere'eu. There's a lot of things that are happening over here. Yisro understands that, but this is good communication. You want to speak about, in order to get to C, you have to speak about A, B, and C, and sometimes repeat it. And it's okay to be patient. And it's okay to say the same things over again a few times so that everybody understands. Not to annoy, but so that we're both on the same page and we both understand that we're on the same page. And then Yisro says to Moshe, לא טוב הדבר אשר אתה עושה, this is not good. נבול תיבול, גם אתה, you're going to תיבול, you're going to, like a leaf that decays, you're going to decay. And the nation with you, כל העם הזה אשר עמך. Yisro is in a position of authority in a way. He's older than Moshe. He has more experience. He's giving him from this experience. It's going to be too much for you. כי כבד ממך הדבר הזה, לא תוכל לעשהו לבדך. You can't do this by yourself. What does Moshe say? It doesn't become defensive or whatever. What do you mean? What this? No. וישמע משה לכל חותנו, ויעש כל אשר אמר. He did everything he said. Yisro gives him a whole plan of have sarei asarot. Okay, if there's 10 people in the room.
Sounds like there was a different question. He didn't ask what is going on. He asked specifically why
are you
doing standing alone?
Why are you alone? Yes, but he's not assuming criticism or judgment. He's not saying, why are you alone? There's a difference between why are you alone or why are you alone, right?
Yeah.
That's more what I'm saying. He's not accusing. He's leaving it open. This is the way I'm reading the psukim. This is the way I understand the psukim over here. And Moshe Rabbeinu did everything he says. He doesn't be defensive or anything. He just says, yeah, let's do it. And then at the end, וישלח משה את חותנו וילך אל ארצו. Then, it's also important the Torah tells us this. Yitro at the end, Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, it was nice having you. It was great. Come again. Yitro says, great, see you later. They don't live together. He doesn't come and stay in the machna of Am Yisrael. There's a separation, which is also a healthy thing. You don't really want to have the whole family living in one place. You want to be able to have your space and have the parents-in-law a little bit of a distance. I think also the Torah is coming to tell us that in a way. After this, what happens? We go straight into Mamad Har Sinai. And all of Am Yisrael are standing under Har Sinai, Ki'ish Echad B'Lev Echad. We're one person with one nation, one heart. We're all together. We're all united. And this is how we're getting the Torah. We're getting the Torah without fighting between each other, without having. 2 days ago, I went to Giva. I was right next to Giva, Pilagish Bagiva, right? It's next to Pisgat Zev. In Shuafat, you have where Pilagish Bagiva happened, where Shevet Binyamin fought against all of the other tribes, and they had 3 crazy battles, and Shevet Binyamin was almost extinct at the end of that. That's really difficult fighting between brothers. We didn't have this. We were all getting along. Everybody was friends. And then we get the Torah. And we hear Aseret HaDibrot. And in Aseret HaDibrot, we have Kibud Av V'Em. Now, I see this as connected. The Shulchan Aruch speaks about respecting your parents-in-law. It's also important. It's also part of this Kibud Av V'Em. It's not Kibud Av V'Em Me'at Torah on the same level as my parents, but to respect Bobby and Zaidi is also very important, and it's a chiyuv. Now, there's an interesting story I was thinking about. Today, I went to Yad Vashem. I mentioned that before, right? And I remembered guiding in Auschwitz. I spoke about guiding in Auschwitz. And when I got in Auschwitz, I speak a lot about Viktor Frankl. Have you heard about Viktor Frankl? Adam Mechapes Mashmut, yes. Man's Search for Meaning is his favorite book. And he started a whole model in psychology, a whole gisha, a whole method called logotherapy. Logotherapy is meaning. If you have meaning, you could do it. Nietzsche said, he who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow. If you have a why, you can do anyhow. Meaning, I need to climb this mountain because I need to get to the top, because my family's over there. I'm going to find a way to get up, right? If you have a why, if you have a reason, you can do anything. And that's very important. It's very important in therapy. And sometimes I feel I need to use Viktor Frankl because sometimes people have very difficult lives. There's somebody I worked with. They had 400,000 shekels in debt. And she just got a good job, and he got a good job, and they were working. They were making a lot more money, but she said to me, but for what? It goes straight to the bank, straight to cover that 400,000 debt that we have. I feel like I can't breathe. Whatever I do, I'm there. What can I really do in therapy to help her? We can work with parts, with what she's feeling, with what's going on, might be sitting on earlier traumas and things like that. Yes, we can work on that. But in situations like this, I feel like I need something more powerful. And Viktor Frankl is more powerful. He was in the Holocaust. He was in Auschwitz, the worst place in the world ever. And he saw when people have meaning, they last a lot longer. Nasan, Viktor Frankl, who's in Auschwitz, is in a bunker with other people, and they don't have protein, they don't have carbs, and they don't have fats. And they're watching each other's fats go less and less and less. Day by day, the cheeks that were like this become more and more close to the bone. And they're thinking, who's going to go first? Is it going to be him? It's going to be him. Nah, he's huge. He'll survive. He'll manage. Nah, he's strong. He always manages to get a lot of food. At the end, they were wrong. The stronger guys and the guys that even if they managed to eat more, a lot of them died before people that had a reason to make it through the Holocaust. There were people that had to go out. I have to come out because I have to see my parents. I have to get back with my parents. I have to get back with my wife, with my kids. Viktor Frankl had this book he wanted to write, these lectures he wanted to give over. He also thought he had a wife. He thought thought his wife was alive. She wasn't. But thinking that she was alive kept him going. When he left, after the Holocaust, he finally found out that she had died. That was harder than anything he had gone through in Auschwitz, he says. But he goes through this point of if
Because
you
in Auschwitz,
he thought she was alive.
yeah, so it wasn't hard for him.
Right. He had the meaning. In a way, if you would ask him, he passed away not that long ago, maybe 1970 something. It could be even later than that. I think even later than that. So you could have asked him. Maybe he would have said that it was good that he had that it added meaning to his life. He would think about his wife and how much he loves her. And he says love is such a powerful motor for meaning in life. And that's what really got him through it. And if you would have asked him, would it have been better to know the truth? Or would it have been better to think that she was alive? It could be he would have said it's better to think that she was alive because that gives you much more meaning. And he believed in having more meaning. And those people, even though their cheeks became like this, if they had meaning, they managed to survive and beat anybody else. You know, I'm just thinking, maybe it's not really related, but they say that uh, the Mossad, I just saw this ex-CIA agent speaking how the Mossad, our Mossad, that does all these crazy things overseas, the beepers with Lebanon, all these crazy things. Our Mossad is so much better than the CIA, than the KGB, than all the other than the MI6, which is in England. They're so much better because if we fail, then it's the end for Israel. And so we know that it's so important to succeed. We have so much more. It is connected. So much more of a meaning behind it. The meaning of the survival of the nation that we push so much further. We could do things that other people don't dare. Or other people don't. Just think about the beeper operation, which spanned 10 years. For 10 years, they were planning this. They bought companies, they bought, uh, they made these beepers. They didn't even know at the beginning that Hezbollah would actually buy them. Eventually, they bought them. They put in explosives, just the right amount of explosives. It's so much work over such a long time, not even knowing if you're going to actually use this, but it's so important for us to be able to do this so that we can save Am Yisrael, make sure we don't lose anybody, that we have that meaning and that's why we can go forward and do it. So there you have another meaning behind. So Viktor Frankl, why were we talking about him? We're talking about meaning, but we're also talking about him in connection to Kibud Av V'Em, because there's a story I'm going to tell you. So he lives in Vienna, and Vienna is controlled by the Nazis. And this is in 1940, it's a 40 or 41. He wants to leave to go to America. And he sees there's a lottery. If you want to go to America, there is a way. This must have been, you know what, this is even earlier, I think. Must have been 1939. And Viktor Frankl wants to put in his name to the lottery. He puts his name in. If you win the lottery, you know what happens? You get a green card. Like there were lots. There were a lot of people that were putting in, and one out of every 10 people was going to get a green card and could go to America. And so he gets the green card and he can go to America. And he knows that it's terrible in Austria for Jews and in Germany for Jews. And things have already started going bad for the Jews in Austria. It's very hard, but if he leaves his parents behind. So he doesn't know what to do. He's thinking about this. He's debating. He's walking down the street, and it's after Crystal Nacht. You know what happened on Crystal Nacht? Leil Abdullah. November 1938, the Germans give the order to burn the shuls, to destroy Jewish businesses, and just Germans go all over and just burn shuls. The fire departments were told, do not extinguish the fires. The fires just burnt all night, shuls burnt to the ground. And yeah, and then the Nazis called it something nice. They always know how to make these things sound nice to make them sound attractive. Kristallnacht. It's not the night of pogroms on the Jews. It's Kristallnacht. Crystal is a nice word because when they broke the glass, it kind of looked like crystals, right? Lots of broken glasses on the floor. And so Viktor Frankl, after all of this, is walking down the road. It could have been very close. It could have not have been 1939. It could have been the end of 1938. And he finds a stone on the ground, and he picks it up, and he goes to his parents' house, and he sits with his father, and he puts this down next to him, and he says to his father, "What's this exactly? Do you know what this is?" His father looks at it, and it says, "Kabed Aleph Vav Aleph." מה זה? Et avicha ve'et. It's a piece, it doesn't have the whole thing.
Fell off from the.
Aleph Vav, maybe it's Aleph Aleph. Aleph Vav Aleph Aleph. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. Okay. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. It had, but it was, you know, you have in a Aseret Tibor, a lot of times you can't write everything, so you wanted to do it in Rashi Tevot. Right, because you have lo tirtzach, lo tinaf, lo tignov, and then kabed et avicha ve'et imecha is too long. So you do Aleph Vav Aleph Aleph. So if from a shul, from a certain his father told him, this is Kibud Av V'Em. He's like, really? I was walking outside. I picked up one stone that looked, looked like it looked interesting. And that says respect your parents. That is a siman that I shouldn't be going to America. I should stay over here with my parents. I should be respectful of them. He derove meaning from something that was happening. It was something that, you could be very scientific and very kind of, practical thinking. Oh, it doesn't have to do with anything. What does one thing have to do with another? No. When you're searching for meaning, everything means something. This cup means something. This bottle means something. There's much more meaning than just the stone. There's a lot of things in our lives that have more meaning than we give it meaning. There's more significance to that. And if we knew how to give it meaning, how to give it more life, our lives would be also fuller and we'd be able to achieve a lot more in our lives. Earlier this week, I went to Herodian. You know Herodian? You've been? A mountain that Herod built. The tall, yes. Herodion. Herodion. There was a mountain. We were there. There was the mountain, and Horus continued the top of the mountain. He named it after himself, and he buried himself there at the end.
He buried himself.
He asked to be buried over there. Why is Herodian so important to him? Why did he pick that mountain and he built it up? He's spending, it's the equivalent of billions of dollars. He had the money. He took taxes, he didn't have to pay it to the Romans. There's a whole story behind that, which I won't go into. He had so much money, so many slaves, he could do this. Why is he building up this random mountain? Hodus is building up this mountain because of a story. We're in Gush Etzion. If you go towards Meitzad, you go next to it. You go towards Efrat, you see it. When you go to Kever Rachel, you can see it in the distance. People ask me, when I say Kever Rachel, people in the car ask me, they say, what's that volcano over there? It looks like a volcano. And it's fascinating. And you know what? Maybe we should go there again if you guys have forgotten how it looks. So there's a story that happens over there. Hordus becomes king of the Galil in the year 40 BCE. His brother, Patzael, becomes king
Oh, it's
of
the place with the
Yehuda. There's caves. There's
No.
caves.
cages.
No,
It's not the.
this is a different place.
The one with the thing Shakiro was נכנס כזה.
There's caves in the mountains.
כזה מקום, אוקיי? שזה כאילו כזה, גבורות, קברים כאלה.
No, 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 no. No, it doesn't sound like okay. In any event, Herajon. Maybe we'll do a shul thing, a shul outing to Herodian. We'll all go to the outing. Okay. So Hordus, what he does is he adds to the mountain, he builds it up. But why? Because in the year 40, he's king, and his brother's king. And then in the year 38 BCE, 2 years later, the Persians attack. The Persians from Iran. Iran attacks, huh? Well, what happens back then happens today also. Iran attacks, Persia attacks. What?
It's not happening for a while.
And then Horus has to go all the way from the north of the country, has to go down to Jerusalem, and then he finds out that his brother was found, taken hostage by the Persians, and he committed suicide in jail by them. Awful, awful. Horus decides, I'm not going to be in that situation. And Horus leaves Jerusalem from a secret doorway in Jerusalem. He goes out with his family and with the best Roman soldiers. And he runs south. And he goes southeast. And he gets to Herodian. And he's also with his mother, by the way. And they have some horses and they have some chariots. And the Persians catch up with them in Herodian. And there's a battle between the Persian soldiers and his soldiers. He has the best Roman soldiers. So it's very cool. It's a very cool battle. I'd like to make a movie about this, where you have a few Roman soldiers fighting off a lot of Persians and just killing him like that. Right, just very cool. You could do what they are, yeah. Just do something like that. And the Romans are slaughtering the Persians. But meanwhile, Horus's mother is also there, and she's in her chariot. She's in her carriage. And the carriage goes over a stone, and a wheel breaks, and the carriage flips upside down. And Horus sees this from a distance. No, mommy! His mother died. It flipped upside down. He ran over, he pulled over the carriage, he looked inside, and she was alive. Nothing happened to her. And he was so excited and so happy. And then he decides Herodian's going to be a special place. And he builds Herodian up. And later on, he gets buried right over there, where she almost died. It's such a special place for him. By the way, Horus,
She buried.
where is she buried? It's a good question. It could be next to the King David Hotel in Jerusalem. No. She died earlier on, and Herodian, he didn't decide, he only decided later on that Herodian's going to be where he's going to be buried. At the beginning, he didn't have an idea. Only when he got sick and later on, it was towards the end of his life, then he decided, okay, you know what? That's actually the best place for me to be buried. His family burial cave is next to the King David Hotel. There's a big burial cave with a rolling stone in the entrance. We can go and see it if you want. I'm going to be there tomorrow morning, right over there. And yeah, so he decided later to be buried up on Herodian. Hordus, he is the great-great-grandson of Esav. Do you know that? He's an Edomite, who Edomi. The Edomim were in Har Esav, Har Seir, which is in Jordan, southern Jordan. When we drive towards Eilat, we go next to Hare Edom. They left Hare Edom during Beit Sheni, before the Chashmonaim, and they went down to the mountains, to the hills of the Shfela, to the area of Beit Guvrin. If you go down Route 38, Kvish 38, you go to the very end, you get to Tzomet Beit Guvrin, that's where Holdus lived. That's where his father lived, that's where his mother lived, that's where they lived over there. And they were Edomim. And the Edomim, so that means Holdus' great-great-great-grandfather is Esav, and Esav also did Kibud Horim very nicely. He's very, very special in his Kibud Av V'Em. He really knew how to make Yitzchak happy and Rivka happy. And his grandson, Holdus, is the same thing. Also, they're very similar temperaments. Both of them were violent and crazy. They could kill a lot of people, but to their parents, they were very nice and sweet. So we can see another, if we're speaking about Kibud Av V'Em, we can also see here that Hordus was very respectful of his mother. I'm actually thinking about, Hordus. So he killed one of his wives. Yeah, he loved her to death. He killed one of his wives because she wanted to kill him and that her sons should be kings. After he killed her, these two sons, I forgot the names, Alexander and I forgot the other name. No. Alexander, son of Hodus. And another one, they tried to kill Hodus again. They had a whole plan, and Hodus caught on to this, and Hodus had them killed. And I can understand the sons. The two sons could never forgive their father for killing their mother. They could never forgive him, so all their lives they were planning on how to kill their father back. I understand the sons. I could never understand Hordus. But maybe we can understand if Hordus really believes in Kibud Av V'Em so much, when he sees his two sons that don't respect him so much, then he says, you know what? Then I should kill them. Then I should kill them. They don't respect. Because that hurts him so much in that place. It's crazy and it's very hard to explain. And there's actually, if you go to Caesarea, the movie over there tries to explain it, that he didn't really kill them. He said he put them on trial in front of Caesar. He brought them to Rome to be in front of Caesar, and so that he would decide what to do with the sons. So really, he didn't get them killed. But there's a question. Yosef Matityahu, who writes about the history, does write that he gave the order to kill them. Okay, so the lo pashut. I'll tell you something to say about Hordus. One sentence that summarizes all of Hordus' life. Hordus,
Kibud Av V'Em.
that's a nice try. Hordus hitmalech keshual, right? נהיה מלך כשועל. התמלך כשועל, מלך כאריה, ומת ככלב. Hordus became a king like a fox. He was foxing and cunning. He ruled like a lion. The lion is king of the animals. And he died like a dog. A dog is a lowly animal. And also, he was sick. Let's say a sick dog. That really, in my mind, that's how it is. Hordus, a sick dog, end of his life, he is sick. He has worms in his stomach. He has terrible skin problems. He's going to the Dead Sea all the time to try and treat his skin. It's not working. And eventually he died. He was about my age. He's a little older than me, 44. I think he was 44 when he died. I'm 42. So Hordus was very sickly, And at the end of his life is when he starts doing these crazy things, killing his wife, killing his sons. They said about Horus that it's better to be his pig than to be his son. That's what they say about. That's one of the big was was Mark Anthony. It was one of the big Romans that said this. Um, it can't be Mark Anthony. It has to be somebody from the end of his life.
That that time was it young? Like or
Was what?
that age?
At the age of 44? You're right. It's not that old. It's not that young for them. Back in the day, a lot of people would die at that age, yes. It was common to die at that age, but he was very sick. That's why he died. It wasn't, not a lot of people died like that, like skin problems and stomach problems. And you know what? If you kill your wife and you kill your sons, you're not going to live a good life. It could be he's so sad and so traumatized and so guilty for what he did. You know, sometimes the guilt can cause physical ailments, and his skin goes bad, and his stomach has problems because he's feeling guilty. I think guilt and the stomach go together very closely. The worms is something else, but the stomach and the guilt go together. So he's eating himself up. He's eating himself up, and that's why he died like that. So we're gonna wrap up this shiur. Okay, we started off with Yisro and speaking about the communication and Yisro and Moshe, how they communicated, how Moshe did Kibud Chamiv. Then we moved to Asat Bottom. We spoke about Kibud Av V'Em, a little bit about Viktor Frankl, a little bit about Horus. This shiur came together very nicely. When I start, I don't exactly know where I'm going to go. And at
What
the
if we
end,
got stuck?
it's the way I've been doing this for many years. I'm an intuitive speaker. Oh, wow. How come Viktor Frankl wasn't sure about Shabbos? He speaks about from people, and he says the religious people have a very powerful motor
That's the meaning.
for survival. They have meaning. Viktor Frankl doesn't believe that's the only meaning in life. There's a lot of meanings in life. No, he loved his wife. He wanted to go out to see his wife. Another meaning was he wanted to give lectures on logotherapy. That was another thing where he found meaning to his life. There's a lot of meanings. I saw an interview with him once. I think he says something like being religious is the ultimate, something like that. It's like the ultimate reason to live. Well, so yeah, that is there is a question over there. I think I did read also that he did some stuff. He put on tefillin. He did do mitzvahs, but he wasn't religious. He didn't become properly religious at the end. You know, some people when they get much older and then they find out about religion, it's very hard to make that change. My grandmother,
Maybe they
Batya, right? My granny Babs, at the end of her life, she decided to be Shomer Shabbos. She decided to start doing Torah and mitzvahs. It was hard for her. It was very, it's so hard at that age. You're set. Everything about you is set. And she tried very hard to do Torah and mitzvahs, to do the right thing.
Maybe that fixed her life. That fixed her.
That fixed her just before she died, yeah. The shiur should be Le'ilu Nishmasa. Bat Yafuma, Bat Moshe Noach.
זה נכון שאני צריכה לכבד את ההורים של בעלי יותר ממכם?
Somebody just told that to me today also.
No,
Somebody just told that to me today.
okay, we'll let's look that up. I remember something like that, not exactly like that. Let's look it up.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we're gonna finish the shiur for today.
You probably shouldn't want to